What if the man you love finally told his mother about you? And she said yes, but with one quiet condition. When Alex's mother agrees to let him pursue Tuna, her approval hides a subtle warning. Get to know who she truly is. What secrets will Alex uncover when love meets doubt? And who's really watching from the shadows? Stay until the end to find out, and don't forget to subscribe so you won't miss what happens next. Morning lingers over the small yard, cool and misty after a night of rain. The air smells of damp soil and crushed leaves. Tuna kneels in the vegetable rows, brushing dew from the green stems. Some plants bend low, others stand strong, holding the last drops of storm water. She exhales softly, her voice barely above a whisper. At least they're still alive. She ties the greens into small bundles with old twine. In a few days, she murmurs, I'll bring these to Mrs. Tang for Henry. The thought steadies her, as if saying her son's name can anchor her in the day. Each knot is a quiet promise, food, medicine, a bit of safety. Inside the house, Henry sleeps. She can't see him, but she knows the rhythm of his breath, the small sigh when he turns. That sound keeps her alive more than any meal. It's why she wakes before dawn, why her hands never stop working. The first sunlight breaks through the jackfruit leaves and paints golden patches on her skin. She wipes her forehead with the back of her wrist, smearing soil across her cheek. The garden glows with warmth, but the ground beneath is still heavy with moisture. It feels like her own heart, firm, alive, but burdened. Her gaze drifts toward the dirt path near the lumber yard. That's where Alex often appears, the sound of his motorbike cutting through the still air. Since meeting him, the world has felt both fuller and more fragile. His presence gives her courage, but also fear. Courage to dream, fear to lose. Then a memory stirs. A woman, Mai. Tuna saw her once, just once, near the lumberyard. The woman's eyes were dark and unwavering, cold, almost cruel. They met for only a moment, yet that look has followed her since, like a shadow in daylight. She doesn't know who Mai is, but something in that brief encounter left her uneasy. She shakes off the thought, focusing again on the garden. Her fingers move steadily. Gather, twist, tie. She sets the bundles in her basket, arranging them neatly, the way she arranges her life, fragile things placed in careful order. The curtain inside stirs. Henry moves in his sleep. Tuna smiles, a soft and fleeting smile that makes her face younger for a second. As long as he's safe, she whispers, I can bear anything. She lifts the basket, her steps slow but steady toward the house. The wood door creaks as she goes in, closing behind her with a gentle thud. Far across the garden, half hidden beneath a mango tree, Mai stands motionless. Her gaze stays fixed on Tuna, calm and sharp. The wind pulls at her hair, but she doesn't move. When the door shuts, her eyes narrow slightly. The garden falls still again. The storm is gone, but something unseen lingers, quiet, watching, waiting. By noon, the sun burns white across the yard. The air hums with cicadas. Tuna waters the vegetables again, though the soil no longer needs it. She does it to keep her hands busy. The sound of an engine breaks the quiet. A motorbike stops outside the gate. She looks up. Alex steps off, carrying a small bag. Dust marks his shoes. Sweat darkens his shirt. Tuna, he calls, voice soft but clear. She wipes her hands on her apron and smiles faintly. You came early. I was passing by, he says, holding up the bag. I brought something for Henry. She takes it. Milk, biscuits, simple things. You didn't have to, she says. I wanted to, he answers, his tone warm but uneasy. He hesitates, glancing toward the garden. Can I sit? She nods. He lowers himself onto the low bench near the water jar. For a while, neither speaks. The sound of the cicadas fills the space between them. Finally, he says, There's something I've been meaning to tell you. Lytuna keeps her eyes on the plants. What is it? He breathes deeply. I want you to come with me, to meet my mother. The words fall heavy between them. Even the insects seem to pause. The watering can slips slightly in her grasp. Your mother? Yes, Alex says. I want her to know you, to know Henry. I don't want to hide us anymore. Lytuna's breath falters. She looks down at her worn shoes, the dirt beneath her nails. Your mother won't accept me, she says quietly. I'm a woman who grows vegetables. I have a child. That's all she'll see. I don't care, he replies. I care about you, about both of you. She shakes her head slowly. You think love alone will change people's hearts? He meets her eyes. If it doesn't, then I'll try until it does. Lytuna looks away, her voice barely a whisper. There are things you don't see, Alex. Things that can hurt us. Then we'll face them together. His tone is firm but gentle. For a moment, silence returns. The wind shifts. The scent of wet soil rises again. Lytuna glances at him, the dust on his sleeves, the earnestness in his eyes, and feels something deep inside her waver. But behind that feeling lies another, the memory of Mai's gaze, cold and exact. She can almost feel it again, the way it cut through air like a silent threat. You should go, she says softly. It's too hot. Alex studies her, trying to read what she won't say. Then he nods. I'll come back, Lytuna. And next time, I hope you'll say yes. She doesn't reply. He stands, adjusts the strap of his bag, and walks toward the gate. The motorbike starts. The sound fades down the dirt road until it's swallowed by the heat. Lytuna remains where she is, motionless. The garden feels too bright, the air too still. She kneels again, lifts the watering can, and pours another stream over the soil. Slow, measured, unnecessary. The water sinks, disappearing almost instantly. Her thoughts drift with it. Can I really belong in his world? She murmurs. The question dissolves before it reaches the air. The wind stirs again, brushing the leaves. From behind the bamboo hedge, a faint movement catches her eye, a flicker of shadow. She turns, but there's nothing, only stillness. Mai is there, though unseen. She stands half-hidden, watching quietly. Her eyes trace every motion, her hand tight at her side. Lytuna lowers the can, breathing slowly. The sound of the cicadas swells again, louder than before. She glances once more toward the road where Alex disappeared, then looks back to the plants. Work is the only language she trusts. Plant, water, tie, wait. It asks for nothing, promises little, but never lies. Her hands resume their rhythm. The soil darkens where the water falls, and for a few seconds the garden looks peaceful again. But beneath that calm, something uneasy stirs, like the faint hum of a storm waiting for its hour. Lytuna doesn't notice. She keeps working, the small movements grounding her against everything that feels too big to hold. Yet somewhere beyond the hedge, a pair of eyes remains on her, cold, patient, and unwavering. The sun sinks a little lower. Shadows lengthen over the field. In the distance, the wind shifts, carrying the faint scent of sawdust from the lumber yard. A reminder of Alex, and of everything that waits beyond this fragile quiet. Lytuna stops for a moment, looks toward the road, and exhales. The light catches her face, warm and gold, before fading into the deeper tones of afternoon. She turns back to her garden, to the only certainty she knows, the weight of the soil, the sound of her own breath, and the quiet rhythm of survival. Late afternoon light fills the small living room. A soft glow touches the edges of old furniture, turning the air golden. Alex stands near the window, his shirt wrinkled from the long day. His mother sits at the wooden table, mending a sleeve, her movements steady and quiet. The rhythm of needle and thread is the only sound. "Mom," Alex says softly. She looks up, her eyes gentle but curious. "You're home early. Did something happen?" He hesitates, then moves closer. "I need to tell you something." Her hands pause, the thread hanging midair. "All right, what is it?" "It's about someone," he begins, voice low but certain. "Her name is Tuna." The needle slips through her fingers and lands on the table with a small sound. "Tuna," she repeats. "Yes," he nods. "She lives near the fields. She's kind, hardworking, and she's raising a little boy on her own. His name is Henry." His mother studies his face carefully. "And you care about them?" "I love them," Alex says simply. "Both of them." Silence fills the room, thick as the late sun. The old clock ticks once, twice. His mother's expression doesn't change, but her eyes darken with thought. "Alex," she says slowly, "you've always had a good heart. But love is not only kindness, it's patience, it's sacrifice, and sometimes it's pain. Are you ready for that?" He meets her gaze. "I am. I've never been more sure of anything." She sighs, setting the cloth aside. "Tell me about her." He does, her quiet strength, the way she protects Henry, how she works through storms without complaint. "She reminds me," he says, "of everything you taught me to respect." A faint smile flickers at his mother's lips. "You speak of her as if she's already part of our family." "I want her to be," he says. "I plan to bring her here so you can meet her." His mother's eyes soften, then harden again. "And the boy?" "He's gentle," Alex says. "You'll like him." She leans back in her chair. "Do you think the world will be kind to you both?" Alex's voice is firm. "The world doesn't decide that. I do." She studies him for a long moment, the light fading across her face. Then she nods once, slowly. "All right," she says quietly. "I'll meet her, but love isn't built in a day. I need to see who she truly is." Relief floods him. "Thank you, Mom. That's all I ask." He moves to the window, a smile forming. The sunlight touches his face one last time before it fades completely. Outside, the street grows dim. Behind the garden wall, Mai stands motionless, half hidden by the dusk. She can see the glow of the lamp through the window, hear fragments of Alex's voice, warm and full of hope. Her fingers tighten around her phone until her knuckles pale. Inside, Alex continues, his voice carrying softly. "I'll bring her here soon. I want you to see what I see." His mother nods again, but glances toward the window. For a moment, her eyes narrow. "Did you invite anyone else?" she asks quietly. "No," Alex replies, puzzled. "Why?" "Nothing," she murmurs, shaking her head. "Just a feeling." Outside, Mai steps back into the shadows, her breathing slow but heavy. The faint sound of Alex's laughter reaches her again, and something sharp flickers across her face. Not tears, but something colder. She turns, walking down the quiet road, her shadow stretching long behind her. Inside the house, Alex's mother sits alone after he leaves, her eyes lingering on the empty chair. The clock ticks again, louder this time. She whispers into the quiet, "Love, if it's real, will survive what's coming. The sky darkens into silver blue, and night settles slowly over Lytuna's house. The storm has passed, but its echo lingers in the wind that hums through the bamboo. Inside, the small lamp casts a soft circle of light across the porch. Lytuna sits with Henry sleeping in her arms. His head rests against her shoulder, warm and heavy with trust. She rocks him gently, her eyes fixed on the dark beyond the doorway. Alex's words from that afternoon replay in her mind. "I want you to meet my mother." The thought makes her heart race, part joy, part fear. She imagines that meeting, polished floors, clean walls, polite smiles hiding judgment. She sees herself there, rough hands, old clothes, the smell of soil still clinging to her skin. "She won't accept me," she whispers. Henry stirs slightly, and she presses him closer, whispering, "It's all right, baby. Mommy's here." The wind shifts, pushing through the curtain. She looks out and freezes. A shape stands near the trees, faint but visible in the moonlight. For a moment, she can't breathe. The figure doesn't move. Then, just as quickly, it's gone. Her pulse races. She locks the door and presses her back against it. The wood is cool. She holds Henry tighter, rocking slowly until her heartbeat steadies. Inside, the silence grows. She sits back down, her gaze distant. "You'll grow up kind," she murmurs to Henry, "and you'll never know the kind of fear I feel now." The lamp flickers once. The house creaks as if breathing. Lytuna glances toward the window, nothing but the reflection of her own face, pale and still. Outside, near the end of the road, Mai stands again. Her arms are crossed, her expression unreadable. The moonlight cuts across her eyes, making them gleam like glass. She watches the small house, listening to the faint hum of Lytuna's lullaby inside. Her lips part just enough for a whisper. "You can't keep what was never yours." The wind answers her, soft but unkind. Lytuna doesn't hear. She hums quietly, her song trembling as it fades. "Everything will be all right," she tells herself. "Alex said so." But her voice is fragile now, barely convincing. She looks at Henry, sleeping peacefully, unaware of the world's edges closing in. "No matter what happens," she says, "I'll protect you." The night deepens, the moon climbing higher. Outside, Mai turns away from the house, her figure dissolving into the dark road. But her shadow lingers longer than she does, stretching across the path, pointing straight to the door. Inside, Lytuna leans her head against the wall, eyes half closed, exhaustion pulling her under. The wind moves again, rustling the bamboo like faint whispers. The lamp flickers once more, then steadies. The silence that follows is heavy, almost too still. The world feels suspended, a moment between calm and something about to break. Lytuna's eyes close. The garden outside sways under the moonlight, peaceful to anyone passing by. Yet beneath that peace, tension hums, quiet, invisible, waiting for its turn. After a violent storm, Lytuna, a single mother raising her son Henry, tries to rebuild her quiet life in the countryside. But her peace begins to crumble when Alex, a kind man from a different world, confesses his love and tells his mother about her. To his surprise, she agrees to let him pursue Lytuna, but warns him to learn who she truly is. As Alex dreams of a future together, a mysterious woman named Mai secretly watches from the shadows, driven by jealousy and a hidden connection to his past. Torn between love, fear, and the weight of judgment, Lytuna must protect her son while facing the truth that not all storms are made of wind and rain. Some begin in the human heart.